Will it bend? That is the question. Seems to me something should have broken there.
I performed some calculations.
The whacker.
There's an easy way and there's a hard way. That's good.
3, 2, 1. We did it! We did it! More science.
It appears to shift underwater.
How does stuff move?
SRAM Transmission. Will it shift in zero gravity?
Our super scientific derailleur smasher.
If the hanger doesn't break, what's gonna break? Let's find out. SRAM has released a derailleur that mounts directly to the frame. Now, is it actually more durable than previous systems? Well, we are gonna answer that question for you. Without that sacrificial piece in there, once you hit this thing on a rock, what's gonna break? Well, the truth of the matter was that with existing 12-speed stuff, if you hit your derailleur on a rock hard enough to break or bend the hanger itself, typically the derailleur was toast too. This thing is now entirely rebuildable, which is something I'm really stoked about. When you do hit this thing, if something does break, you're just replacing a single part as opposed to the entire assembly. In our race face era crank video, many of you requested more science. So today, in an effort to test out SRAM's new transmission derailleur, we've brought in our resident physicist, James, to help us out. James, what are we doing today?
So today we would like to see if we can get an idea of how hard we have to hit the derailleur to get it to break. And the way we're going to do that is by setting our super scientific derailleur smasher and sending it straight into the derailleur on the bike.
Yeah, we've arranged it as if you were biking down the trail and you hit a rock sort of from the side at an angle. I've gone and stolen the XX1 axis off of Fanatik's owner's bicycle. So we're going to give that a few whacks. We're going to add some weight, see how it holds up, test out the shifting and figure out when it stops shifting and maybe when it breaks entirely. And then we'll move on to SRAM's new transmission derailleur to see how much more it can hold up to abuse.
So our super scientific derailleur smasher that we are going to use goes by the name of a physical pendulum. We bring it back and it swings straight in and smashes the derailleur. I performed some calculations and basically there are 3 main measurements that we're going to have to take. The first is going to be what is called the equilibrium angle, where we just need to see where this pendulum is sitting when it's just completely at rest. The other is the measurement of the angle it sits at when we pull it back. And we read it off the protractor up there. And then the other is going to be the length to the center of mass of what is called the bob of the pendulum. I ran the calculation in 2 different ways. There's an easy way and there's a hard way. On the board here is the hard way. This is how we would do it in classical mechanics, which is a field of physics. And basically, I just take all the coordinates of the different points of interest on the pendulum and I plug them into a statement about the overall energy of the pendulum. And this spits out a differential equation that I can then solve to find the speed of the bob at any given angle throughout the pendulum's motion.
How do we then relate that back to what's happening in the real world? Say if I go smack my derailleur on a rock as I'm pedaling by.
Yeah. How does stuff move? Momentum is mass times velocity, which is the amount of stuff that you have multiplied by how fast it is moving.
So for example, a football linebacker, even if I'm somehow running at the same pace as he is, he will have much more momentum than I would.
Exactly. The way that we're going to relate this to something that you might experience on the trail, if you strike a rock on the derailleur, we'll be able to see, how fast you as a rider would have to be going down the trail to actually break your derailleur off.
Okay. Well, how about we get to it?
Sounds great.
So now we probably just start whacking.
Yeah, I think we have to start taking measurements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll let you do the fun part.
I'll do the whacking.
I will do the measuring part.
Okay, so here we are. First round of derailleur whacking on Kyle's XX one axis derailleur. Let's get things going. Where are we at? Does that look pretty good?
Go a little more.
A little more.
That looks good. It's reading 40 degrees off of vertical. 40
Okay.
degrees off.
40 degrees off of vertical. Okay, James, can you count us down here?
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Oh. Oh. All right, but it did its thing. It moved itself out of the way. Well, it didn't move itself. This moved it, but the little clutch disengaged. Let's maybe give that a quick pedal, see where things stand. How are we looking? I can't see much from back here.
Looking pretty good. So for Dan to have been riding and endure that hit on his derailleur, he'd have to be going 0.37 miles per hour.
Okay, and that's if I were to have like hit something on the derailleur like that and come to a complete stop all at once. Momentum down to 0 because velocity drops to 0. Before we put any more weight on this thing, we're gonna up the angle 90 degrees.
90 degrees.
Yeah, right there. Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, ow.
1.
Oh, ow. That was violent. I'd be very concerned if that happened on trail. Seems like it's working okay. Move up the cassette.
I mean, that's like honestly just better than my bike shifts normally.
All right, so that was really impressive. Hanger looks good, man. Okay, so that derailleur took the hit pretty well. It felt kind of alarming, but the derailleur shifted just fine. James, what would that be like taking a hit like that? Give us an example.
That is roughly equivalent to a professional baseball player throwing a fastball directly at your derailleur. That would be about 94 miles an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, our coworker BK, who played a lot of baseball, was telling me he's taken a few fastballs to the head with his helmet on, and he's still doing fine. Sometimes acts a little funny, but no, he's great. All right, so on to the next one.
Look at this business. Pretty serious.
Yeah, sure you want.
This is my first professional application
Yeah.
of my degree, other than teaching. I was up until 4 in the morning writing this Python code
Yeah, you are.
to perform these calculations for me so I don't have to write them out and do them.
Will SRAM transmission shift on the moon? We're bumping things up. We've got a 2.5 pound weight on here, equivalent to a baseball moving at, what'd you say,
274.
174 miles per hour. Going up to 90 degrees, dropping. Oh, poor derailleur. Let's shift it
No, no. There's no way.
back down. Maybe back up. Live to ride another day. Okay, so that kind of blew us away. We were certain something was going to break there, but nothing did. The derailleur shifts fine. Now, that would be equivalent to me moving at half a mile per hour, coming to a complete stop, a 10-pound bowling ball moving at 8.75 miles per hour, or baseball at 274 miles per hour. All right, so James, we've added 2 10-pound plates. So we've got the weight of the bar, 12.5 pounds of additional weight on there. What does that bring us to? One moment.
Plus 1.1. So that would be a baseball traveling about 645 miles per hour.
Okay.
Swift.
That is faster than I can throw a baseball.
But that is one Dan moving 1.2 miles per hour.
I can definitely move 1.2 miles per hour. So
can do that.
let's get this going. 3, 2, 1, dropping.
That is so violent.
Dropping. Get this thing out of
It
here.
is stuck under the cassette.
All right, I think everything's fine though.
Some way, somehow.
That didn't look okay.
I have a funny feeling it's.
I think it's
Yeah,
I think it's all gonna be okay. No stress. It's fine.
Wow.
Everything's fine. All right, so in fact, the derailleur and the hanger are fine. Now what's happening is it's just moving the derailleur away in the direction that all the joints and the pivots work. We can't believe that this thing is still running just fine. So to change that, to mitigate these things where we're seeing this thing sort of slipping past the derailleur after the initial impact, we've added our wide
Flange.
lance tip to cause maximum damage here. This thing will ensure that once the derailleur moves out of the way, it's still in the impact zone. And we're also going to add, what, 20 pounds, James? Is that what we're doing here?
20 more pounds.
Oh, gosh. All right. That's 32.5 pounds.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. There we go. Tighten things up. Oh, that's heavy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to lift this over my head. I've been going to the gym, so we'll try.
So,
Yeah. BK.
I'd like to see it.
I'll calculate it out.
yeah, so that's like almost twice the speed of sound.
Okay, we're going to take things to some extreme measures. We've added 32.5 pounds on top of the bar, which is more than the rest of all the tests we've done. James, what does that equate to in real life?
Some superhero were to throw a baseball at this derailleur, they would throw it about 1,300 miles per hour when it would strike the derailleur.
How much faster than the speed of sound is that?
That's almost twice the speed of sound.
Okay, so there would be a sonic boom.
Yeah, almost two.
Okay, cool. How many dans is that?
That's a one Dan moving 2.5 miles per hour.
The difference is I weigh a lot more than a baseball, and we're calculating momentum here. I'm scared for the bicycle.
I'm scared for my ears.
I'm just scared.
The peanut gallery is scared.
Okay. Oh, God.
Yeah,
I don't like this.
That's it. All right.
3, 2, 1. Oh, boy. All right, derailleur hanger's bent, for sure. We did it. We did it. 1. Let's shift through the gears here. We know it's not going to work because that derailleur hanger is super duper bent. Yeah, we're not shifting properly. Oh, yep. All right. Oh, yep. Okay, so one thing we're noticing is that the UDH derailleur hanger did rotate backwards like it's supposed to. So that helps protect things from that frontal impact. We are going to put a new hanger on here to see how the derailleur itself is holding up. Seems pretty good, huh?
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, it looks very, very lined up, like just correctly. I mean,
Well, golly.
looks pretty good.
Well, despite hitting our XX1 axis derailleur with the equivalent of a baseball moving at 1,342 miles per hour, it didn't break. The only thing that broke was the derailleur hanger. So we have replaced the hanger and we have reoriented our derailleur whacker, and we're gonna give it one final whack from a side aspect, kind of perpendicular to the chain stay. So this might recreate if you chucked your bike off the side of the mountain or hit a jump into a table and then forgot to untable and landed straight on the ground. So let's give it a go. In our new orientation, the whacker will hit the parallelogram of the derailleur first and then impact as that moves out of the way. It will impact the B knuckle up here and probably just bend the hanger. We will see. Here's our highly scientific bracing method. We have inserted a 6mm Allen into the axle and braced that against our very sturdy bench here. Do we have any misgivings? 3, 2, 1. Seems to me something should have broken there. Okay, so what's happened here? The hanger is extremely bent. It might shift okay. Currently not shifting too hot though. Okay, so I've got a new hanger on here. All right, there's signs of improper shifting happening. I think that may have been the death blow. I cannot shift down to the smallest cog, and things seem pretty out of whack. Something is bent there and that it will never be the same. So it looks like that's what it took, is hitting it from the side with 32.5 pounds of force at about 9 miles per hour, coming in directly perpendicular to the derailleur itself, and it totally smashed the hanger. This was the first hanger we broke here. You can see it's fairly bent. This was the hanger we broke just now. Now, along with bending that, it also bent the derailleur itself, impeding from proper shifting. Unfortunately, none of the parts on the current set of axis derailleurs are replaceable. So, sorry, Kyle, owner of Fanatik, we're gonna owe you a new derailleur. But that means we've done it, so should we try bashing some transmission, see how it holds up?
That's a great idea.
Next up in our SRAM transmission testing, will it shift underwater? Let's find out.
I just don't want to get my hands wet.
Yeah, no, Shifting. It appears to shift underwater. Logan has noticed something. Oh yeah. This is a new Lake Watchcombe water sealant. It actually keeps the air out and the water in. All right, so we have swapped to our transmission bike, another Specialized, so that I don't break my revel rail. We've re-braced the bicycle in the back here. We're back in gear number 6, and we've reoriented our derailleur whacker to the same orientation that we initially bent the first derailleur hanger on our XX1 axis. We are sticking at the same weight. That was the 32.5 pounds, I believe, on the bar, and we're gonna see what happens. First test on SRAM's new transmission drivetrain. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Let's move it back into position and see what we get. There we go. Now, so those of you who have watched the installation guide for this, you'll know that sort of some of what I'm doing here is actually part of the installation process. I'm not seeing anything bent. All right, we did get some scratching, some marring here, but one of the cool things is that this piece is actually replaceable. So if you really wanted to make it look fresh, you could actually just replace that piece. James, would you shift up and down the cassette for us? Look at that go. As if it were brand new. And take us back down. Neato. Now it bears keeping in mind that on the previous derailleur, the XX1 axis derailleur with the same amount of weight, same orientation, we totally ruined a hanger. Now a hanger is a lot easier to come by with UDH now, but you still have to either have one in your bag or run to a bike shop to get it. Whereas this, we just reset the whole thing and off we go.
So this was the same hit that we did before that initially bent the hanger. About equivalent to a baseball moving 1,300 miles per hour. Or Dan going 2.5 miles per hour, coming to a complete, utter stop. So I'm kind of curious as to see what it would be like if you didn't uncrank your tabletop and just fell straight on the ground.
Well, fortunately for me, I can't actually do a very good table, so I don't think I could do that, but let's give it a go with our derailleur whacker here. All right, so for our final test, the death knell on the XX1 axis derailleur, this is what killed that previous derailleur. We're now going to have the derailleur whacker basically first impacting the similar B-knuckle structure. I don't know if that's what it's still called. One thing worth noting is that since there's no hanger now, which was something that was very readily going to bend in the previous situation. Now all that force that's being routed through here is going directly through the derailleur and into basically the frame axle itself. So we'll see what that does. This should help answer the question, if the hanger doesn't break, what's gonna break? Let's find out. I think something's gonna break, yeah. I don't know what, but I think something's gonna break.
That's good.
Oh boy. All right, here it is. 3, 2, 1. Logan says it fully broke. Oh, yep, it fully broke. There it is. This small little pivot point right here on the parallelogram has broken. It's still attached though. It also appears to have broken the spoke. It's not perfect. Definitely not perfect. Oh, yeah, we're not getting up to those top gears. So what's happened here is that this portion of the parallelogram, that small piece broke off. But that's a easily replaceable part on this derailleur, which is pretty sweet. I bet it's an inexpensive one too, because it's just a small metal member. I don't have those prices in front of me right now, but it's just a small little piece, and I'd be willing to bet, we have no way of testing it unfortunately because I don't have a replacement, I'd be willing to bet that definitely the bulk of this is fine, and probably almost every other single piece is fine. Let's grab that thing. So that belonged right here. It's broken. I'm pretty impressed though. It also, our frame is fine, our axle is fine. So we didn't build up to our final death blows on the transmission derailleur. We just went straight to the max weight that broke the axis derailleur. But I'm quite impressed with the turnout here. What do you think?
Yeah. When we first struck it at an angle, that one bent the original XX1 axis derailleur, the hanger at least.
The hanger, yeah.
And
now
that one,
so you need a new hanger.
You need a new hanger after that. This one, it didn't really do anything at all. I mean, it just swung out of the way like it's supposed to, and we readjusted it. It shifts just fine. And then the final, dealing dead blow to the old XX1 derailleur, that swung in, it hit it, it bent the derailleur itself, not just the hanger.
That's trash.
And it's complete. Yeah, you can't do anything with that. I mean, whereas on this derailleur, when we came in with the final, dealing blow, all it really did is just broke the outer piece of that parallelogram.
Yeah, this tiny little piece.
Yeah, it just broke that off. And as opposed to having a derailleur that you just can't use anymore, you can replace that piece and be on your way.
Well, James, we've done it. We've succeeded in breaking both of our derailleurs and all the hangers that we had in the store. What do you say? What did that leave you with?
Well, Dan, this was a really fun experiment. I had a great time. Being somebody who works in the service department, wrenching on customers' bikes day in and day out, I do see most of the derailleur adjustments that come in are actually a bent hanger in disguise. And I think a platform like this new iteration of the Axis is going to provide just generally a much more consistent experience because it removes that possibility of an ever so slightly tweaked hanger. And I think that will translate to better longevity and
more consistent shifting, a better user experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the first improvement in derailleurs and drivetrains that we've seen in a while that actually is an improvement, actually brings performance benefits as opposed to just a little bit more gear range or wireless shifting or something like that. This is an actual performance improvement to the whole system. So we'll see where they take it from here, but for now, it's clear that we're gearing up to enter an age where e-bikes are much more common. This is, I'm sure, in part designed to bring that robustness to a system that's putting a lot more torque through the drivetrain. And as we saw, it stood up really well. A lot of concerns that I've seen voiced are, well, now instead of your hanger breaking, the frame is gonna break or something like that. In our experience today, All that broke was one tiny piece of the parallelogram. Unfortunately, I don't have a replacement to pop it on there and see if it shifts like new again. I suspect it will, and do make sure you subscribe to our channel, because once we get a piece in, we'll put something out there to showcase that. In the meantime, if you're interested in picking up SRAM's transmission drivetrain, we currently do have entire group sets in stock. Currently, you can only buy it as a group set. That's actually a little less expensive than buying them piecemeal. And you do need all the parts together. Again, it is not backwards compatible with like the Eagle cassette, for example. All in all, I'm super impressed with this drivetrain. I'm looking forward to maybe getting it on my bike, maybe fixing this one up and trying it some more. And yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching. It seems to shift underwater. Now, can it be ridden underwater?
Did it shift?
Yeah.
Great.